bonsoir, bonsoir. Boa noite. Good evening, everyone. So, are you ready for a new live? After a long time, here we are with a new live. So, here it is, our guest that I'm going to invite immediately. Hello, Tatiana. I'm going to invite Marcio Scavone, who's going to be this live. Marcio Scavone is a Brazilian photographer. And he recently.
Hello.
Oh, good
Hello
evening.
there. Hello there. How are you?
Fine. Thank you
Can
for
I
being here.
can I ask you something silly first? Will you pronounce my surname again? I loved it. Go on.
I didn't hear you.
You,
I had
I'm asking you to
with a
pronounce. I'm asking you to pronounce my surname again because I love the way you said it, like an Italian. Go on.
Marcio Scavone.
Well, thank you.
Yes, because you have Italian roots, you have Italian origins.
Yes.
Like many Latino America people, we have a very deep connection, deep bond. Italy and Latin America have a really deep bond.
There you go.
So you recently came here in Italy to present your project, Fuga. But let's begin from the start, because you are a photographer, Brazilian, and you started very early with your photographic path, because your father was an amateur photographer. And things that hit me when I read your presentation, your website, was your observation about the poder de observação, the power of observation. You say that thanks to your father, you gained the power of observation. I wanted to ask to present yourself and to talk about this concept that is really interesting, a power of observation.
Okay. I'm fascinated by the way creative photographers and writers, maybe musicians too, in their own way, observe the world. Because I think creative photography is distilled from the observation of this world. You mentioned that I started very early, and it's true. I have a book called A Glass of Light, Copo de Luz. And this boy here, it's me.
Oh.
So this boy, portrayed by my father, he was asked to hold this glass of water in the backlight, contre-jour, as they say, with the light reaching from the back. And then I found this negative. Obviously, it didn't have this title. It was a portrait that he did, on my birthday, I suppose, And but I was observing this portrait, and I came to the conclusion that this boy was asked to look very deeply into that glass of water, something very, trivial. But then I realized that wasn't trivial at all. He was telling me something about observing, about the simplicity of things, about the way the light behaves, because this is what he was fascinated with when he, clicked, that press that button. So I did the whole book. The whole book is about my references and my photography. Soon I'll have it translated into English and maybe in Italian.
It would be very, very nice to have in Italian.
I think it's a good idea, and I think writers and photographers, because I like to write as well. In this book, I'm presenting myself as a writer because although there are like more than 100 pictures in the book, obviously, because I'm a photographer. It's a book of text. It's written. And so I decided that what happens to me is when I am not able to photograph something the way I think it should be, I write about it. and vice versa. Yeah. Fortunately, photography triumphs, you know, because
But it's a very good practice because I started my path as a photographer from communication, and for me every language, every medium is an instrument, is a instrument to explore. So it's a good thing when we can make different medium to communicate. One thing doesn't exclude the other.
Yes, yes, and communication is everything. Everything. The more the more I publish, the more I get in touch with people, with people who appreciate my work, the more I realize that how important it is to put across my ideas and my thoughts. Yeah.
And that's another important thing.
I can expand a little more on my career, and then we arrive at at Fuga, if you like.
Yes.
But you tell me, because I'm very dangerous when I have a microphone in front of me.
Me too. I'm very, very dangerous.
I started to talk and oh, you have one too.
And here is Lula.
Oh, there you go. Leica's downstairs and she's black too. Oh, maybe she'll come up in a minute. I told her she couldn't come in. Don't tell her.
And here there is a person who follows you that says that you are a grandmaster, that he loves your work, and the simplicity of your life and the complexity of your portrait is unique.
Who said that? Who said that?
Madeira Photo.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm very flattered. You know, I am trying to keep my life simpler, because all along it has been very, very sophisticated, and because I ran a very big studio for, I don't know, 45 years, you know, and so I built my career in advertising photography parallel to my personal work. But I think my personal work picked up really as I was reaching the age of Dante Alighieri, you know, the mezzo del cammino della nostra vita. You know?
Yes, I think that it's important to keep it simple, and you express. I think that the things that you use text also, and that you can keep things simple, is linked, because the important thing is to have a message to communicate. Then you can really keep things simple.
Yeah, I made up this thought. I think you're going to like it. All my life I've been hired. I work very well under pressure. You know, with deadline and stuff. Yeah, because I am trained for that. I'm a pro. I'm very very proud of my professional photography, because it's got to do with discipline. It's got to do with perfectionism, and I like the idea that everything I have in my material in my life, and come to think of it, spiritually too, came from photography. So photography is a very weird, very strange profession, because it's no matter how much you have produced, no matter how much you think that you have done something or you've really accomplished, the sensation you have is that you can always make so much more, so much more. And it's the curse of the photographer.
Yes, it's things that also it's go deep and deep, and that give me the chance to ask you the second question, because there is another thing that I read on your page about photographer gaze. Many photographers, even if they don't think about it consciously or unconsciously, change the way they look at the world through the photography. And I wanted to ask how did your vision of the world change through photography?
That's a lovely question. I like that. I believe like, for instance, I believe I can only know someone deeply if I have taken his or her portrait, yeah, through photography. I have to look how, you know, I'm looking at you, I am taking pictures of you, you know. It's really crazy. I have this, I'm obsessed in putting people in sort of classifying or defining, you know, who they are by how they look. Yeah, but this look starts very superficially. Yeah, like, you know, like the skin. But I know how to get into the skin because I trained, because I've been digging, you know, all my life, you know. So then I connect my heart, my mind, my references. I connect everything, and then I came up with this thing that every portrait is a self-portrait, because I believe that you put so much of you into whatever you do, but I'm talking about portraiture in special, yeah, that you leave this mark, you know, you leave this familiarity. You know, you can have a personality photographed by 3, 4, 5 master photographers. This person will look 5 times different, and I am sure, because and who is he? Who is this person? I don't know. You know, maybe in between of the 5 portraits, we say, oh, this is the best because this is how we appreciate, this is how we see that person, you know. This is how you see Winston Churchill, you know. This is how you see Princess Diana, you know. But
I totally agree.
yeah,
There is a good quote from Nietzsche that said once that there aren't facts in the world, there are interpretation. I think that photographer, through this camera, gave an interpretation. We are filter of the world, and our own universe is the filter.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. And also, you know, if we go, you know, to Fuga, you know, to this book that I took to Sicily. This, you know, this book is about, it's a very personal eye onto 8 cities. Yeah, I am a firm believer that the more personal you get, the more universal you become in photography. Yeah, so maybe in writing too. That's why so many writers and photographers feed on his biography, on his childhood, or, you know, his experiences. It's what we have, you know. This is what we have. So and we're all one human beings, you know. We're all brothers and sisters anyway. So with this book, I attempted to explore the subconscious of whoever is going to look at my photographs, you know, because they're filled with my references. But I am sure this person will dig into the roots, you know, like trees talking underground, you know. So I'm, you know, this is a very different, a very important project for me, because it's, I like to think it's something of maturity, you know. I don't know if I ever will be mature, but
yes, we talked about this project before the live, and you told me that you like that when people see your works, it's like they are seeing through their own memory, like your photography connected with your memory, but it can sound familiar to other people too.
Yes, I am feeding your imagination. The thing about photography is you look at a photograph. I mean, I like pictures that when you get close to it, you get a punch in the face, but yeah, because it's strong formally, but you want to go back. You want to go back and have a close look because there is more there. So I am not very much into just the formal graphic structure. Yeah, I like both. Yeah, I think, you know, if you're going to hang it on the wall and look like, you know, for hundreds of hours, I like people to, and I have been told that people go back to my pictures and to find out, you know, what's there, and there's always something new, and I like that. Take me back. I flew away.
So what triggers you? Because memory is a powerful tool to trigger attention, to trigger cognitive process in a person. But what triggers your project and your photography?
Fantastic, fantastic. Passion, 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 passion. I have to become obsessed with the subject. If it's not like that, I can't do it. Yeah. If it's the water, like I did a book, if it's portraiture, if it's a district, like I did the Japantown in my hometown, São Paulo, I have to be in love. You know, when I'm doing the portrait of someone, I am really a thief, you know, because I can fake love, I can fake friendship, I can fake interest, I can fake anything to get a good portrait, you know. I become an actress.
Yes, sometimes to get a good portrait, you have to become like the psychoanalyst of a person.
Probably,
to become,
probably. Yeah. They say
sometimes it's a long process. Sometimes it's even a long process. You have to get out with the person. It depends on the project. For example, I received this proposal from a girl and to take her portraits in her process of changing her sexual identity. And then I realized that I couldn't do it on one session of shooting. I have to become her friend and go out with her and get to her to get to know her better.
Yes, this is it. A portrait begins, I used to say that a portrait begins with a phone call, with lunch, with a night of love. Why not? You know, it's.
That's because there is the intention to be very respectful of the identity that we have in front of us. Because some photographers,
yes, because you have to give them confidence. You have to show them you are the ambassador of his or her image. This is a very great a responsibility, you know. The portrait belongs to you, who is looking at me, and me, who is holding the camera. 50-50. There's no way, you know. If the drama doesn't come back to me, the drama. Yeah, we won't have a portrait, a strong thing, you know. It's, you know, I'm going to shake you. I'm going to really be mad, you know. Yeah, so you have to be willing. You know, it's an act of love, I'm sure. Yeah, some people don't understand that. So some people don't have good portraits of themselves.
Yes, that's true. It's like a dialogue. If you don't get to have a dialogue between you and the person you're taking a portrait of, there isn't a good portrait.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah. So what I did in this this long essay, you know, Fuga. All my life I've worked for deadlines. Never had, you know, sort of quickly, you know, agencies pressing, or a client pressing, or a publisher, a magazine. So I decided to give this book as a gift for this photographer to take his time. So it took me 8 years to do this book, because it took a lot of traveling. Yeah. And there are 8 cities, 8 years. I like the number 8 because if you turn it like 180 degrees, it's infinity. Like when you fiddling with your focus barrow in your old camera, you know, it's there, you know, infinite, you know. So it's
a very big project, because you are projecting or producing 2 books, 7 cities, if I understood well, for each book.
Sorry, say it again. I didn't get it. Say it again, Ljdia. I didn't understand. What did you say?
That is a very big project because you are projecting of publishing 2 books, and
Yes,
in each
yeah.
I'm
I'm still going to do another one with smaller cities. This is mega cities that have been in my life, you know, since early age, and they all relate to me. They have, there is a reason why I chose them, like London, where I lived and studied. You know, it's a dreamy way. It's a romantic way, maybe. You know, romantic in the sense that I am looking at me doing things. Like I come out and I can see me lying in bed, you know, or walking in the street, you know, this kind of romantic vision. Yeah. Then I wasn't going to do, believe me, I wasn't sure São Paulo, my birth, my you know, my where I was born and raised, would be in the book. But then with the pandemic, I came to live in the mountains, you know, to come away from the city. And I started looking at São Paulo from the distance. I understood. I said, well, come on. This is where your deepest memories are. You know, this is where you worked all your life. Come on, give it a break. So I think the pictures of São Paulo in the book are the very, very special in the way that if the whole book is personal, São Paulo gets to be even more personal, you know, more deep into my the fabric that
it's difficult to come in contact with our deepest part, and our birthplace it belongs to our deeper part that we like it or not.
Yes, it's okay, some people are going to hate what I'm going to say now, but it's easier to be romantic with a lover than with a wife sometimes, you know. So if you you know, go to sleep and wake up, you know, with the same person all the time, it tends to get like a routine. And if you are if you're not special, you fail to discover this person every morning. So you have to be very special, yeah, and continue to see the magic in this person, the magic that put the 2 of you together. This is what happened with São Paulo. I had to come away, and I needed that, you know, and I started to. The essay on São Paulo is the one that really takes me to my childhood, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, you know. The whole book becomes maybe a biography. I don't know, but you know, I don't know. Could be. You know, there's an interview in the book. I'd love to read it as well. You know. Yeah.
Because it's like taking picture of your memories through the cities where you have been. So it's like a biography. It's a biography of a traveler.
Could be. It could be. Plus, Ljdia, it's how can we photograph Paris, London, New York, you know, or Rome, you know, Tokyo, Rio, the most photographed cities ever by, you know, the best photographers in the history of photography. So I decided I needed, for each picture, I needed 2 or 3, you know, to tell the story. But the funny thing is, they are layers and layers and layers. But the tricky thing is, because I'm a photographer, every layer can stand up by itself. You know what I mean? If you strip, you get 3 pictures. They're good pictures. But sometimes I get the feeling I was spoiling something. You know, oh, come on, I'm ruining this. This is already, you know, it's fine. But then when I combine the images, it's like music, Fuga, Fugue, like Bach, you know? It's like the melodies are there, but then you go like point and counterpoint, and you notice that you're going somewhere else, and you like where you're going with the pictures. Then I know I've got it, you know. You know, I really enjoyed the process. I think it took me 8 years because I didn't want to finish.
And
I was having a good time.
I think that's what it means to have a vision, because cities like Rome, Paris, New York have been portrayed by many photographers, and we photographers, we have many things in common, like our cameras. We have many similar cameras, but what takes the difference is the vision the photographer develops.
Sure. sure.
Even a professional, if they don't have a vision, then they are going to take the same picture of their colleagues, and they don't make a difference. That they are not going to leave a sign. That's what I enjoyed about your works, that you really found a vision and you transmitted through your image.
Well, good. It's you know, you have in psychoanalysis, Freud, you know, and all that. You have to kill your mother, don't you? So you have to you have to kill Cartier-Bresson and all that, you know, because
Yeah.
you know they are fantastic. They are amazing. I mean, even I mean everybody knows his you know, well, every serious photographer knows some image by Cartier-Bresson. But his portraiture work is masterful. It's absolutely fantastic as well. So yeah, it's about killing him.
I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't start from photography, so I started to get to know other photographies later, and that gave me the chance to develop my own gaze before being influenced by others. But then I started studying them, and for me, there are photographers who really shaped my imaginary, my photographic imaginary, like Avedon, for example. I love his portraits of the
Avedon. Yeah, Avedon. Yeah, sure. He says about portrait. I repeat one of his thoughts about portraiture is that is the job of the portrait photographer is to show what the sitter, the one who is sitting there for you, yeah, what the sitter wants to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that thought. You know, I like that. We're hunters. You know, and it's this game. You know, this tour de force. You know, I like that. I did a lot of. I'm going to show you a picture here because I am. It's here by chance. I wasn't going to show you this, but there is a reason. You know, for many years I shot for a business magazine, very important in São Paulo, called Carta Capital. Carta being an Italian surname. The editor was from Genovese, yeah, and a very good, an amazing editor. And he invited me to have a section in a magazine. The last page was mine for 7 years, and I would photograph very famous businessmen, a businesswoman, or artists, or it was fun, yeah. And like for instance, I'm going to show you this, okay? No, this is a man with a padlock around his neck, right?
Yes.
Okay, this gentleman is Italian and he's Brazilian as well. Okay, his name is yeah. His name is Luigi Papais, and he founded the most famous padlock cadeado padlock factory in Brazil. Yeah, and yeah, you know the padlock. Yeah, I don't know how do you say padlock in Italiano?
Lucchetto.
Lucchetto, okay. So he was a maker of lucchetti. and so as things are, you know, I was shooting the studio and the telephone rang, and it was the magazine, and they said, listen, Mino Carta, that's the editor, wants you to shoot Mr. Luigi Papais to be in the next edition because he got this medal, this decoration from Italy, you know, this small medal here, yeah, this thing here, Commendatore, something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Commendatore, okay. And so I sat down and I thought, that's not going to be fun, you know, just to shoot this man with a you know, his medal. So I called his factory, his office. And I said, listen, when Mr. Luigi comes over, will you please bring the biggest padlock you have? So, and I sent my assistant to buy a meter of red and a meter of green ribbon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when he arrived in the studio, I said to his assistant, the person who was with him, came before him, and I said, look, I'm going to have him wear the padlock. on his chest. He said, oh, he'll never do it. He'll never do it. He said. I said, well, let me have a go. Yeah, let's try. So I was very
That's playing with the character, with the iconic, it's playing with the imaginary of people.
Yeah, the gentleman who happened to be married to his daughter, I learned later, and worked with him, said he won't do it. Mr. Luigi won't do it. I said, well, let me have a go. So I waited for Mr. Luigi at the doorsteps of my studio. Yeah. When he arrived, I was so dramatic. You know, somebody should have filmed. I held his hands firmly. I looked, before anything, I'd never seen the guy before. He was older than me. I looked straight into his eyes and I said, Signor Luigi, I have an idea. If you don't help me, I won't be able to make it. Let's do it together. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So I did the portrait, and this portrait became so well liked by the factory, by everyone, by his family. It became his, the portrait, his official portrait, So this is how things go. You have to believe in your wild dreams, and this is how it works.
Yeah, I think that's a really good things to say, to believe in our opinion, in our idea. Because sometimes the world is going to tell us that our ideas are not so good. Why don't you choose ours idea? So we must stay strong with ours idea, our point of view.
Yes.
Because that's not homologating, that's to have our own vision.
Yes, this is the main thing. This is the most important thing, of course, André Cartes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. He's one of my, I call them my pirates, the people who really inspired me, the old photographers, I like that. And there's a video of him already quite old, and he's shooting this woman in the park, this girl, he's shooting away. He's about 80, and he's shooting. And then he says, well, don't take too many pictures. Don't go there and there and there and there, because it'll look like you don't know what you're doing. And he's right. So I see many young people starting, and they shoot too much. You don't have to do that, because pressing the button is just it's so simple. It's so it's the conclusion. It's the final act of something you've been doing for hours. Like observing, talking, thinking about the background, the light, blah blah blah, and then you go, okay, 2 shots, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
But then it's okay, I took 24 pictures, and that's it. You should be able to do a portrait with 20.
Yeah, sometimes you take a lot of photos and then the good one was the first, so you didn't even need, or you have to build a story with a series of photos, and you don't realize that you don't need 10, 20 photos, you need 5 photos.
It's exactly. Yeah. It's Ljdia, it's like this. The person arrives, she's going to model for you, she's going to sit for you for a portrait. Quick thing, the first picture, the mask is not on yet. Yeah, if you're quick, the first picture maybe will be the best one. But I find that the last one and the one before the last one are the ones. Why? Because there's a curve. You start the portrait it's like a smile, and you end here. Why do you stop shooting? Because you feel you've done it. So if you feel you've done it, it's in the end, because the end cannot, it won't be the end if you don't stop, right? You can only have the beginning, the beginning for sure, but the end is uncertain. So if you determine the end of the session, is because you're happy with what you just saw. So it's very, very difficult, very hard. Very rarely it will be in the middle of the session. Very rarely, it's something I know,
So portrait photography. One thing that we talked about in our previous conversation were that When you take pictures of cities, when you do street photography, it's like you are doing a portrait of cities.
Yes, 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 yes. I have no doubt. I think cities are made of people, especially people who died, okay? Because we inherit the cities from the dead people who lived in these cities and built all the things you're looking around. So I always go to the cemetery as well, because this is where they are, you know. This is, you know, I pay tribute to the cemetery, you know, the necropolis, you know, the city of the dead, because this is where it all started. You know, cities have history, yeah. They have mothers and fathers, yeah. So you start visiting, you know, whoever contributed for that city to look like that, yeah. And then I have this take. I think cities, in my way of seeing, are feminine, are you know, they women for me, you know, cities, you know.
You also, when I took pictures of Italian cities, they were all women, beautiful
Yeah,
women,
yeah,
different
yeah,
women,
yeah, yeah,
Naples, Rome, Milan.
yeah, yeah.
And it's
I think,
strange because there are songs, Italian songs, that connotate like woman, Italian cities too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. No, it's yeah, it's, I don't know, because somebody asked me why there are so many. I think it's in the interview in the book, and I you know, I can read that part here. Hang on, it's in English. The critic, you know, Aguinaldo Farias, he asked me, why the recurring images of beautiful women? Are you not arguably walking too close of a stereotype? He asked me that. So I said, maybe because maybe it's because when I think of these cities, I prefer to search for their feminine soul. As a portrait photographer, the face will always be my starting point. They represent worlds that I should visit. My propensity for shooting or looking for beauty needs no explanation. It lies deep in the roots of my creativity. When I was a child, well, and then I tell a story that you have to buy a book to to read it. There's references in movies as well, you know. The references in the cities for me are obviously photography, literature, and movies. You cannot think of Rome and not think about Fellini. You know, you cannot
Yeah.
think of New York and not think about Woody Allen. You know, it's
It's part of our imaginary, like Roman holidays. When people think of Rome, they
yeah,
image
yeah,
all
yeah,
the image pop up. It's the things that we were saying before, memories. We have memories, we have a baggage of image that
yes, yeah, 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 yeah,
conditionate our way to perceive reality, and in the case of photographer, they even conditionate our way of taking a photography, because I used to take picture when something activate my attention, and most of the time it's something that sounds familiar, something that it seems to belong to my memory.
good, good, yeah, yeah. I also, in this book, I came to the idea that I wasn't shooting what I was looking at. I was shooting what I had seen, you know? I was,
Yeah.
you know, looking for things that could tell the story I already had in my mind, you know? So it was a different way, you know? I liked it. I liked the challenge, you know? The challenge, like I was behaving like, I don't know, creating, making pictures, not taking pictures, yeah?
Yeah. That's an important difference, because I always tell people that there are photographers who like to read the reality, and photographers who like to write reality.
Yes.
That's the thing. So that
Interesting. That's good. I like that idea. Very good. Yeah, very good.
sure. So you have the possibility to visit the southern part of Italy, because Sicily is considered the very southern part of Italy. So what were your impressions?
I was surprised. I knew I would love it, you know, because I love Italy. But I was I was, I don't know. We have this idea of Sicily from the movies, you know, and literature. I had read Sicilian Conversations, Elio Vittorini. I don't know if you read that book. And I just caught up with the film. So there's a movie. They made a movie, you know. I like the music of the accent, you know, the Sicilian. I was delighted, you know. They're so warm, they're so polite. You know, I had a very it was very easy for me to communicate with them. It was funny because obviously my Italian is full of mistakes, but I can, how you say, I get through, you know, I get by with my Italian. So they come up to me and said something in English. Io non parlo inglese, io parlo italiano. You know, capisco tutto, ma non parlo niente. But they would say, "Oh, come on." So it was lovely because you visit the place. You visit the place. Okay, you visit Japan. Okay, you go to Tokyo. I was. Fascinated with the city, and I like the culture. I like the food, but I don't speak Japanese, and they speak very little English. To my surprise, they don't speak English. People think they're going to go in the street and say, "Oh, hello."
No,
You know?
they are not.
No, they don't. But so it was like, you know, it's if as a Brazilian you go and visit Portugal, the experience will be multiplied by the fact that they speak the same language. Yeah, like I am fluent in English. I go to the States, or I go to England or to Australia, and I profit from my trip 10 times over because I speak English, and I talk to them. Yeah. Now, it was when I go to Italy, even though I'm not fluent, I studied a little Italian, you know, years ago. I have this urge to understand, you know, it hits me in my genes, you know, it's like, you know, yeah. So I become Italian when I'm there, you know. Maybe I should ask for a passport, you know.
You can. In Italy, you can keep two type of nationality.
Yeah,
For
I know.
Italian. For France, no. For French people, no. You have to have one passport, only
No,
France.
I am thinking seriously of retiring in Sicily. Be that old man in the square, you know. Oh, he's a Brazilian photographer, you know, and I'll be there, you know, feeding the pigeons and, you know, drinking limoncello and, you know, and all that, you know.
It would not be a bad idea because in Sicily there are even small villages that are really, really beautiful
Yeah,
with
yeah,
beautiful architecture. Even small village are
yeah,
really interesting.
yeah. I am thinking seriously. Why not?
No, one last
Yeah,
question about your project Fuga. If you have one city in specific that it has a special place, or one photography of your project Fuga that has a special place in your work.
oh, there's so many. There's so many. This is a very difficult choice, you know, because I thought so much about each picture, you know. They, you know, they're so dear to me, you know. Yeah, I probably have some favorite ones that I would hang on the wall, you know. But it depends on my mood in the day as well, you know. I finished printing the book, and then I didn't want to look at the book. You know, I didn't want to open the book for a couple of days. You know, because I was there when they were printing, and I was tired of I heard that some great writers never go back to the book. They never read that book again. They just publish it and forget it. You know, but I don't think that's so with photographers. You know, because I don't know, the images they cling to your mind. You know, they like tattoos, you know, on your skin, you know. They'll never fade away. It's, you know, you know, this is a very strong book for me. It's a very important book. I was Yeah, there are pictures here they're so familiar, you know, so you know, the I don't know, there's some hang on. This is a heavy book. You know, this is, to me, this is Copacabana, you know, the curves and the sea and the line of the horizon, you know. This one of London, you know, everything has a reason there. You know, the explorer, the statue, this boy who is the nephew of a friend of mine in this case, and you know, and the eye. So I call it London Eye. You know, they were sculpted, you know, these pictures, because they have three dimensions. Not that the third dimension is 3D in the movies. No, the third dimension, this work, is time. They are two dimensions. They just, you know, they don't want to go like, you know, go around like a sculpture. No, sir. But the third dimension is the time. You know, it's there. I know. I'm fascinated with what. Because in the end, what photography does is freeze time, you know. So this book, because there are like 2, 3, 4 pictures in each tableau, like I call them, they're super freezer, you know, super freezer of memories, of images, of, you know.
Yeah, there are many level of many possibility of reading this image, because they are very, very structured. There are many things inside.
Yes, yeah. I think this is the fun of it. And then I wrote in the end of the book, for each picture, there's a paragraph or two. You know, I'm not explaining the picture, of course not. But there's a mention. Maybe there's a clue there. Maybe there's something that came to my mind as a phrase, or that enriches, you know, or gives some route for the, you know, somebody who's looking at the book, gives like a road, you know, to take to read that picture, you know, if he likes to, you know. But otherwise, we just put the book. We mixed all the cities, because for me they're all one, you know. They're the same because they are in my mind, you know. So, and in the titles underneath the pictures are in the language of the city, and they're not translated ever, because this is what happens when you land into a strange city. You listen to a strange language, you read strange signs, unless you speak the language or you go into Google Translate or a dictionary, whatever you do. Yeah, so it's there, you know, to make you think that the familiar can be strange as well, you know.
That's a very interesting concept. So, in your next project, which cities are you going to portray?
I was thinking of, you know, Venice in Italy, you know, Kathmandu, you know, these magic names, you know. I don't know. It's I have to, you know, think a lot and start again, you know, because it's got to be different. Maybe it's going to be in color. I don't know, because
like we said at the beginning of the conversation, the more you work on photography, the more it's like a photographic project. The photography have its mind of their own. It's like the camera sometimes begins to have its own personality and then go around.
Yes, yeah. You just tag along. It's true. Yeah, you know, the idea will, you know, will take you. You know. Maybe sometimes you don't have to go so far, you know, it can be on your doorstep, you know.
And sometimes you don't have even to project too much. I used to advise people to do project. Some photographers that I know used to use a storyboard even. But I'm more instinctive person, so I like to
Oh
decide
no,
at
oh
the
no, oh no!
moment?
I don't agree with storyboard. No, no, no. I think as a photographer, you can organize the logistics of the trip. You can study the city, but in the end, it will be you wandering the streets with a camera in your hand. You know, it's you know, start afresh. You know, I don't believe in, because you have to accept the accident. You have to accept, yeah. Um, Obviously, especially me, because I plan portraits. Oh yes, I do. But I'm open for, you know, what happens. I always, when I go to do somebody's portrait, I take an idea in my sleeve, you know. But I get there and I don't, you know, I say I have a fallback if nothing works, and I have 5 minutes and it's raining, you know. I don't know. I will always come up with something that I feel is stronger than the preconceived idea, and I'm very economical with what I do when I do a portrait. You know, I'd probably shoot you with your hand in your chin like you are now. You know, and you know, that's it. I only need one click. Stay there. I'm going to click this screen. Okay, I've got you. Yeah, yeah.
So if you have to give an advice to photographers who are beginning their career, what would you say to them?
Go and make movies.
This connect, they are connected, like you were saying, contamination. Movies, for example, I love Antonioni. Antonioni was,
Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah.
when I looked the first time at his film, I grew up and big envy of his way he used geometry and light and shadows to
Yeah,
create.
and you know, of course you must like Storaro too, yeah, the cinematographer.
Yes,
Yeah, but like Vittorio Storaro, he was the one responsible for many trends in lighting throughout decades. You know, like when he photographed Novecento. Yeah, it was the era of what we call swimming pool, great big sources of light, windows. The big diffusers, huge. The light so beautiful, so like Rembrandt. You know, fantastic. So
yeah,
if you look at that movie, it's like that. And then when he did The Last Emperor, yeah, he was fiddling with very contrasty lighting. So Storaro is an example of what I try to do as well. You change, you know, you explore all aspects of photography. You know, you don't stick to, you know, I just do black and white and blah 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 blah. No, fuck, you know, I've got, you know, my mind, you know, I've got this camera, I can do anything, you know. And I hope that like there are some photographers that are very formal, and you recognize them by the formality. Yeah, you know, it looks
yeah,
the same all the time. But there are photographers whose style, whose visual signature is the content. It's more. Yeah. It's the way they shoot. You know, it's not. You know, it's deeper. You know, and it's like Storaro is like that. Yeah, as a photographer, as a cinematographer. You know, and then he did that movie. Warren Beatty is wearing a yellow raincoat. It was very colorful. Tracy, what's his name? Is Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy. It's not a very famous film that he did the lighting too, and then he, you know, Woody Allen hired him to. Did you know that
no, I didn't know.
yeah. Well, being Woody Allen, such a genius, you know, he said, well, you know, he went there and he picked, you know, he said, Storaro, come and make a movie with me, you know, and you can see it's about it's in Brooklyn. It's about Ferris wheel, you know, what's the name of that thing? Yeah, and you can see it's, you know, the magic is there, you know. Yeah, it's all, you know, it's all music and photography, really, movies, isn't it? Yeah, you know.
I think that it's a very good advice to, even if you said it a little bit ironically, let's go to the movie, make movies.
Yeah,
It's
because
a good advice.
the camera, you buy a camera and the camera makes movies. Your telephone makes movies, you know.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, they're telling you that, you know. I'm not telling you when you want to be a photo. I mean, if the young person is going to be a photographer, he'll be a photographer. You know, he'll be a photographer. There's no way, you know, you can tell somebody not to be a photographer. The advice is you don't have to study photography anymore, like I did. I had to study photography because, I mean, you know, don't have to tell you, you know, it's film photography and all that, and no internet and all that, yeah. But now the cameras, they solve all the problems, exposure and latitude and blah, blah, blah. So you're free to create, but so is millions of people. Yeah. So, you know, so you have to do so much more than photograph, you know. You know, Ljdia, I did a profile and a portrait and a text of Peter Beard, yeah. I met him in the south of France, and was there with him for a few days, and we got on so well. And he was telling me about Africa and his career and all that, yeah. And he was a funny guy. And he said I remember one of the conversations we had, because he introduced me his assistant, very clever. Young man, you know, very intelligent, very good photographer. And he said, "Oh, this is Lane. He shoots for me," you know. So he was already being sarcastic, you know. And he said, "Do you know what a moron is, Ljdia? Moron is an idiot, okay? An idiot, moron." He said, "Photography is a profession for morons." He said to me, for idiots, you know, in his, you know, sarcastic way. But there was some truth in it, you know. There was some truth in it, because you have to be so much more. You have to write, you have to compose music if you can, you have to play some instrument, you have to write, you have to do collage, you have to do sculpture, you have to be romantic, you have to talk to people.
I couldn't agree more, because that's me. I contaminate everything that I touch. When people come to my account, they ask me, "But what do you do?" Because they saw paintings, photography. I'm also a communicator, so they.
Communication.
That's the interesting. You can be more. You don't have to be just one thing. You can be more than one. And I think that
and especially because you asked me about young people. Like when you are like old school, let's say, you know, like I started, you know, film and negative and all that. It's very difficult, and I'm in love with lenses. I like lens. I like focus. Deep down, I think for a photographer who works like out of focus all the time, it's pretty. Yes, it's pretty. But deep down, I think he wanted to be a painter. No problem with that. No problem with that. Yeah. But to me, I like, you know, the image sharp. You know, it gives me, it's sexy for me, you know. I like that, you know. And but if a new generation, you know, somebody who's 15 years old or 18 or 20, you know, and is in love with images, we should interview him, you know, because can you imagine? Let's talk to a boy in Italy who's like into photography, and he's 17, and one in Brazil who's 17 or, you know, 16, 15, because he's, you know, he will never have heard of Cartier-Bresson. He will never have heard of Monsieur Nadar. Yeah, it'll be interesting. What's a portrait? Selfie. No, fuck you. It's not a selfie. You know. You know, it would be fun. You know, it would be fun, because I get really mad because portraits. A portrait is something so serious to me. It's like it's a biography. A portrait is a non-authorized biography. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not something that you go like, you can do it in 5 minutes if you have a career of 50 years like I do. But if you're starting, hold your horses, you know, it's not that easy, you know, yeah, because you know, this is the challenge, you know, you have to you know, run around like a dog, you know, run around the bull, you know, a lot, you know. I can be a sitting bull now. Yeah.
It could be very interesting to interview younger people who are beginning to and make an exchange of point of view between an Italian and a Brazilian, or even from another countries. In
Yeah.
Naples, I had the occasion of interviewing some.
Yeah, you like
boys,
asking somebody young and eager. Um, I will risk to say that they tend to think they will be taken more seriously if they start shooting film. Would you believe? You know, it's
yeah, yeah.
and then they say really
And
seriously.
now
They
it's
show me.
the new
They
trend.
show me a photograph, and they go and say, and this was done with
It's the
film.
new,
This was done
it's
with
one of the trend. It's one of the trend in
No,
photography.
no, no.
Film,
But they say,
photography.
and listen, and this was done with film as if to impress me. And I say, so what? So what? What do you mean? You know, yeah. Oh, really? Did you develop? Did you print it? Oh, no. I sent it to Mexico City to be, you know, developed. And then I scanned, you know. I said, okay. So why did you shoot on film, for fuck's sake? You know, why? Because you want, you know, because you want to tell me you shot on film. Why? Give me a good reason. And then you know, if you want to shoot film, you have to learn to process the film, buy an enlarger, print, and then you say, okay, so this was the photography in his middle age. Now we're living, what are we living? Contemporary photography, technically. Maybe digital photography is where Monsieur Niepce and Monsieur Daguerre were aiming at, and Mr. Talbot on the other side of the channel. You know, can you imagine? Can you imagine if you gave them a cell phone, you know?
Yeah.
They died, heart attack right away, you know. Heart attack, you know. Yeah. We could do an interview like that. I could disguise myself. I could be Henry William Fox Talbot, yeah? And you make me the questions. And I'll answer you from the 19th century. We can plan that. I think we should do that.
I think we should. I think we should really do the interview of some amatorial young photographer. I launched the proposal. If you are listening, because this video will be online for the people who couldn't attend, will be online on my YouTube channel and on Instagram, and I will send it to Marcio también. Sometimes Spanish escape. I don't know why. También also.
Yeah, it's okay. Anche Marcio. Yeah, we can do that. We can do like four people in one meeting. We can do that. Yeah, it'll be fun. I think, yeah, I mean, we should have more of this. I'm really, you know, enjoyed it, you know. So it's great. It's great. You know, are you
and when I'm in Naples, I'm going to begin this cycle of exhibition with professional and amateur photographers. So follow up, because maybe we are going to find some young, interesting people. In Naples, there are many things. There are many spaces that are used by young people to make art.
Well, maybe Naples is my next trip, you know.
Yeah, you should visit, because it's very interesting. I visited a lot of towns, but Naples.
I've only been once to Naples a long time ago. Yeah, that's because before the Vesuvio erupted. Yeah.
So it's today. You must come to Naples.
I will. I'll come to Naples next year. I promise. Yeah.
So we'll be waiting for you.
Okay. We'll be in touch. It was era molto felice di stare con te parlando.
Anche per me, anche per me.
Grazie.
For me too.
That's wonderful.
No, thank you.
We have to do it again. We'll choose a theme.
Yeah.
We'll choose a theme and we do it again, because it's
Yes, we must organize because I can also till for people, so we can even organize a conversation and with even more record conversation about photography.
okay, we'll do it.
And if there are amatorial young photographer who wants to connect, don't be shy. Send a message to me or to Marcio. Let's see if we can organize something interesting. Let's exchange opinion, because something that is very important for me, and that's why I began to make live on Instagram, is to have a dialogue. That's what makes you progress, to stay in touch with people who make photography, live in person, or read books if there aren't a living person around you who makes photography. Read books, read what the photography have to say. Not only photographer, like we were saying, contaminate yourself with other arts, read paintings, books. For example, Caravaggio for lights for me is a master. when you begin to speak about windows, a great source of light, I thought about Caravaggio, and I was
and Artemisia,
Artemisia Gentileschi, yes.
Artemisia Gentileschi. She's. I studied her. She's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's part of Rome's story.
Yeah. Okay, so
you must absolutely come in Italy. We'll be waiting for you, and let's stay in touch. Let's see to organize something else, even when I'm in Naples.
Sure, right away. I'll book tomorrow. I'll book the flight tomorrow. It was wonderful. Yeah, let's. I'll write to you, and we'll think about some other theme, and we'll join. Next month we'll do it. Again.
Perfect. There are people who are saying hello. There were some people who were saying hello.
Monique is living. She lives in Milan. She's an old friend of mine. She lives in Milan. Yeah. Hi, Monique. Monique. Ciao. That's wonderful. Well, thank you for the invitation, Ljdia. You're an excellent hostess.
Thank you.
You let me talk so much. You let me talk so much.
This one of the things that I like of the live, what I was saying before. I like to have this exchange, and I love for people when they see the video to get to know what other photographer, other artists thinks. And that's the main things that I like about live on Instagram or on
and if you send me this, don't forget to record. You're recording this, and I'll put it on my channel, which I promised my viewers I will look after more closely next year. Because there's so much to post, and I sometimes forget to post, but I will.
Okay, perfect. So thank you all for joining us. I saw many people. There were a lot of people connecting, disconnecting, other people from time to time, and they were changing. So thank you all. Grazie. And for all the people who didn't see the video, it will be online soon. So thank you, Marcio. Thank you again.
Obrigado, querida.
Obrigada.
Ciao.
Muito obrigada e boa noite.
Boa noite, muito bem, boa noite. Come si dice? Buona serata.
Buona serata.
Buona serata per te.
Buona serata a te e ci vediamo presto. See you soon.
Buona serata a te, vediamo presto. Ok, ciao.
Ciao, Mario.